January 2026 Social Security Payment Schedule. What's happening, what's not, and what you need to know. If you receive Social Security benefits, this update matters to you. The Social Security Administration has officially released the January 2026 payment schedule. That includes SSI, SSDI, retirement, and survivor benefits. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. There is also growing confusion online about stimulus checks, shifted dates, and supposed extra payments. This video clears all of that up. We are going to walk through the exact January 2026 payment dates, why some people receive 2 payments in January, why others feel like they are waiting longer, and what is true and false about stimulus checks right now. Nothing speculative, nothing exaggerated, just the facts. First, let's ground this in reality and understand why this information matters so much. Millions of Americans depend on Social Security every single month. We're talking about real people with real bills and real responsibilities. This money pays for rent. It pays for groceries. It pays for medication that keeps people alive and healthy. It covers utilities so the lights stay on and the heat keeps running. It pays for transportation to doctor's appointments. It covers the basic necessities that allow people to live with dignity and security. When payment dates shift, even slightly, even by just a day or two, it can throw off an entire month's careful budgeting. For someone living on a fixed income, timing is everything. A payment that arrives on the 8th instead of the 3rd can mean a late fee. It can mean an overdraft charge. It can mean choosing between filling a prescription or buying groceries. It can mean real hardship for people who have planned their lives around a specific schedule. That is why understanding when your payment arrives is just as important as understanding how much you receive. The amount matters, absolutely. But the timing matters just as much. Because knowing when money will hit your account allows you to plan. It allows you to communicate with landlords, with utility companies, with pharmacies. It allows you to avoid fees and penalties. It allows you to maintain your financial stability and your peace of mind. The calendar matters. These dates are not arbitrary. They follow specific rules set by the Social Security Administration. And understanding those rules gives you control over your financial life. Now, let's talk specifically about SSI payment dates for January 2026. If you receive Supplemental Security Income, which is the program commonly known as SSI, your payment normally arrives on the first day of the month. Every month, like clockwork, you can expect your payment on the 1st. Unless, and this is important, unless the 1st falls on a weekend or a federal holiday. When that happens, the Social Security Administration moves the payment to the last business day before the 1st. In January 2026, January 1st falls on a Wednesday. Wednesday is a business day. There are no federal holidays on January 1st this year that would cause a delay. That means your SSI payment was issued on January 1st, 2026. It should have arrived in your bank account or on your Direct Express card on that date. If you are on SSI and you have not seen that deposit, that is something to follow up on immediately. Contact the Social Security Administration. Check your bank account carefully to make sure you're looking in the right place. Make sure your direct deposit information hasn't changed. But if the money genuinely did not arrive, you need to address that right away because that is not normal. Now, here is where confusion begins every single year, and I want to explain this very carefully because it trips people up constantly. Why do SSI recipients receive 2 payments in January? Let me walk you through this step by step. February 1st, 2026 falls on a Sunday. Take a moment and picture your calendar. February starts on a Sunday. Now, here's the key rule you need to understand. The Social Security Administration does not issue payments on weekends. They also don't issue payments on federal holidays. They only issue payments on business days, Monday through Friday. Because the SSA does not issue payments on weekends, February's SSI payment cannot be issued on February 1st. So what do? They move it up. They issue it early. That payment will be issued on Friday, January 31st, 2026. That's the last business day of January. So for SSI recipients, here's what January looks like. 1 payment on January 1st. 1 payment on January 31st. 2 payments in the same calendar month. Now, I need to be absolutely crystal clear about what this means and what it does not mean. That does not mean extra money. You are not receiving a bonus. You are not receiving additional benefits. You are not receiving a stimulus payment. You are not getting double benefits for January. This is not free money. This is not the government giving you something extra. It is simply February's payment being delivered early. It's your regular, normal, standard SSI payment for the month of February, arriving in January because of where the calendar falls. You're getting your money early. You're not getting extra money. This also means something very important that you need to prepare for right now. You will not receive an SSI payment in February. Let me say that again because this is where people panic. You will not receive an SSI payment during the month of February. Your bank account will not show an SSI deposit in February. There will be no payment on February 3rd or February 28th or any date in February. Your next SSI payment after January 31st will arrive in March. Specifically, it will arrive on March 1st, assuming that's a business day, or the last business day of February if March 1st falls on a weekend. This catches people off guard every single year. Every year, without fail, people call the Social Security Administration in a panic during February asking where their payment is. And the answer is always the same. You already got it. You got it on January 31st. That was your February payment. Plan carefully. Be smart about this. Understand what's happening so you don't get caught in a financial emergency. Here's an important reminder for SSI recipients that I really want you to take seriously. That January 31st payment must last you through all of February. All of it. Every single day. If you receive that payment and treat it like extra money, if you spend it like it's a bonus, if you don't budget it carefully, February becomes very, very difficult. February becomes a month where you have no income. February becomes a month where you're scrambling, borrowing, going without. I've seen this happen to people year after year. They get excited about 2 payments in January. They spend that second payment too quickly. And then February hits and suddenly they're in crisis mode. They can't pay rent. They can't buy food. They're calling family members asking for help. They're taking out payday loans with terrible interest rates. They're falling behind on bills. Do not let that be you. When that January 31st payment hits your account, treat it like what it is. It's your February money arriving early. Set it aside. Budget it carefully. Make it last through the entire month of February. This is not a system error. It's not a glitch. It's not a missing payment. It's not the Social Security Administration making a mistake. It is how the calendar works. It happens every time the first of a month falls on a weekend. It's predictable. It's scheduled. It's intentional. And now you know about it so you can prepare. Now let's talk about SSDI, retirement, and survivor benefit payment dates, because these work differently. If you receive Social Security retirement benefits, if you receive Social Security disability insurance, which is SSDI, or if you receive survivor benefits, your payment date depends on something very specific. It depends on your birth date. Not when you started receiving benefits. Not how much you receive. Not where you live. Your birth date determines when you get paid. This system has not changed. It's been in place for many years. It's consistent. It's predictable. Here is the January 2026 schedule, broken down by birth date. If you were born on the 1st through the 10th of any month at all, your payment arrives on Wednesday, January 8th. That's the second Wednesday of January. Mark that date. Put it on your calendar. Set a reminder on your phone. January 8th. If you were born on the 11th through the 20th of any month, your payment arrives on Wednesday, January 15th. That's the third Wednesday of January. Again, mark it down. Know when to expect it. January 15th. If you were born on the 21st through the 31st of any month, your payment arrives on Wednesday, January 22nd. That's the fourth Wednesday of January. Circle that date. Know it's coming. January 22nd. These are standard dates. They follow the normal pattern. There's nothing unusual about them. They're exactly what you would expect based on the Social Security Administration's regular schedule. But there is a special exception to the Wednesday rule that affects certain groups of people. If either of the following apply to you, listen carefully. If you began receiving Social Security before May 1997, you're in a special category. The system worked differently back then, and if you were grandfathered in under the old system, you still follow those old rules. Or, if you receive both SSI and Social Security, if you're what's called a dual beneficiary, you also get paid differently. Then your payment arrives on the 3rd of the month, not on a Wednesday based on your birth date. In January 2026, the 3rd falls on a Friday, so that is Friday, January 3rd. That's when your payment will arrive. This applies to people who have been in the system for a very long time, since before 1997, and people who receive both programs simultaneously. Let's recap the full January 2026 schedule clearly, all in one place so there's no confusion whatsoever. For SSI recipients, you receive a payment on January 1st and another payment on January 31st. Remember, there will be no payment in February because you're getting February's money early. For people who began receiving Social Security before May 1997, or people who receive both SSI and Social Security, you receive your payment on January 3rd. For people born on the 1st through the 10th of the month who receive SSDI retirement or survivor benefits, you receive your payment on January 8th. For people born on the 11th through the 20th who receive those same types of benefits, you receive your payment on January 15th. For people born on the 21st through the 31st who receive those benefits, you receive your payment on January 22nd. If you rely on this income, and I know you do, save this information. Screenshot it. Write it down. Put it somewhere you can reference it. Share it with family members who might need to know. Make sure you have the correct date for your situation. Now let's address something that's been spreading like wildfire online. Let's talk about the stimulus check rumors. There is a lot of noise online right now. A tremendous amount. Headlines designed to get clicks. Videos designed to get views. Social media posts designed to go viral. They're claiming things like, new stimulus confirmed for January, or Social Security recipients getting extra money, or January stimulus payment on the way. Here is the truth, stated as clearly and directly as possible. As of right now, as of the recording of this information, there is no federally approved stimulus check for January 2026. None. Zero. It does not exist. No bill has passed through Congress. No payment has been authorized by any government agency. No funds are being processed by the Social Security Administration or the Internal Revenue Service. There is no stimulus check coming in January 2026 at the federal level. That is not an opinion. That is not speculation. That is not me being pessimistic or negative. That is the current status based on actual legislation and actual government actions. Could that change? Theoretically, yes. Congress could pass something tomorrow. But as of right now, nothing has been passed, nothing has been signed, and nothing is scheduled. Why are so many people confused about this? Let me explain the pattern that happens every single year. Every year, around tax season, speculation increases dramatically. Some sources, some websites, some YouTube channels, they start discussing proposed bills. They talk about draft legislation that's been introduced but not passed. They reference old relief programs from 2020 and 2021. They mention state-level rebates and confuse them with federal programs. They take a tiny grain of truth and blow it up into a misleading headline. Here's what you need to understand. A proposal is not a law. Someone proposing that there should be a stimulus check does not mean there will be a stimulus check. A discussion is not a payment. Politicians discussing relief does not mean relief is coming. Until legislation is actually passed by both the House and Senate, signed by the President, and funded by the Treasury, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is real. Nothing is coming. I've seen people make serious financial decisions based on rumors. I've seen people spend money they don't have because they believed a stimulus was coming. I've seen people delay paying bills thinking they could pay them with stimulus money. And then the stimulus never arrives because it was never real in the first place. Don't let that be you. What about state payments? This is another source of confusion that I want to clarify. Some states have issued tax rebates. Some states have sent out cost of living payments. Some states have refund programs for taxpayers. These are real. These exist. But they are state programs, not federal stimulus checks. They are funded by state budgets, not the federal government. They are not tied to Social Security. They are not administered by the Social Security Administration. Eligibility varies dramatically by state. Some states send them to everyone who filed taxes. Some states have income limits. Some states require you to have lived there for a certain amount of time. The rules are completely different depending on where you live. If you hear about one of these state payments, verify it through your state revenue department. Check your state government's official website. Do not rely on social media. Do not trust random YouTube videos. Go to the source. Now let me give you some practical advice going forward, things that will actually help you manage your finances and reduce stress. First, know your exact payment date. Do not guess. Do not assume. Do not rely on memory. Put it on your calendar. Set a phone reminder. Write it on a piece of paper and stick it on your refrigerator. Whatever works for you. Know exactly when your money is coming. Second, if you receive 2 SSI payments in January, plan for February right now. Set that second payment aside. Treat it like it's untouchable until February. Budget it carefully. Make sure it covers your February rent, your February groceries, your February medications. Do not spend it in January. Third, do not budget around stimulus rumors. Do not make financial plans based on money that might come. Budget around what you already receive. Budget around what is guaranteed. Plan for what you know, not what you hope. Fourth, if your payment arrives after your bills are due, communicate early with your creditors. Many companies, many landlords, many utility providers will work with you if you explain the timing. If you call them before the due date and say, "My Social Security payment arrives on the 15th, but my bill is due on the 10th, can we work something out?" They will often say yes. But you have to communicate. You have to ask. Don't just let bills go unpaid without explanation. Fifth, build any buffer you can, even if it's small. Even $10 set aside helps. Even $20 provides a cushion. I know it's hard on a fixed income. I know every dollar is spoken for. But even small amounts reduce stress when dates shift or unexpected expenses come up. This is not about perfection. Nobody expects you to have thousands of dollars in savings. This is about preparation. This is about being smart with what you have. This is about reducing surprises and increasing control. Why does this knowledge matter so much? Missed dates create panic. When you don't know when your payment is coming, you worry. You stress. You lose sleep. You make frantic phone calls. You feel out of control. Rumors create false hope. When you believe money is coming that isn't actually coming, you make bad decisions. You spend money you don't have. You make promises you can't keep. And then reality hits and it hurts. Confusion leads to poor decisions. When you don't understand the system, you react emotionally instead of strategically. You make choices that hurt you in the long run. Clarity brings control. When you understand the schedule, everything changes. You stop guessing. You stop scrambling. You stop panicking. You plan ahead. You communicate proactively. You make smart choices. You stay stable. That is how people survive and thrive on a fixed income. Not by hoping for windfalls. Not by believing rumors. But by understanding the system and working within it intelligently. Here's your final summary. Let me bring this all together. January 2026 payment dates are set. They're not changing. They're not up for debate. They're scheduled and they're happening exactly as described. SSI recipients receive 2 payments in January, one on the 1st and one on the 31st. You will receive no payment in February. Your next payment after January 31st arrives in March. SSDI, retirement, and survivor benefits follow the standard Wednesday schedule based on birth date. January 8th for people born 1st through 10th. January 15th for people born 11th through 20th. January 22nd for people born 21st through 31st. There is no federal stimulus check approved at this time. Do not plan around one. Do not expect one. If one gets passed in the future, great. But right now it doesn't exist. Planning matters more than speculation. Your financial stability depends on understanding reality, not hoping for miracles. If this explanation helped you understand what's coming, I hope you'll stay connected and keep learning. If this information affects you or someone you care about, share it with them. Help them understand. Help them prepare. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your financial security. Stay informed. Stay steady. And take care of yourself. You deserve stability and peace of mind, and understanding this system is a huge step toward achieving both. Let me take a few more minutes to address some common questions and concerns that people have about Social Security payments, because these come up repeatedly and they deserve thorough answers. One of the most frequent questions is, what do I do if my payment doesn't arrive on the scheduled date? First, don't panic immediately. Sometimes there are processing delays of a day or two, especially if you're with a smaller bank or credit union. Check your account in the evening if you don't see it in the morning. Check again the next business day. However, if your payment is more than 3 business days late, you need to take action. Contact the Social Security Administration directly. You can call their national number at 1-800-772-1213. Yes, you might be on hold for a while. Yes, it can be frustrating. But you need to report a missing payment so they can investigate. Before you call, gather your information. Have your Social Security number ready. Have your bank account information available. Know the last date you successfully received a payment. This will help the representative assist you more quickly. Another common question is, can I change my payment date? The short answer is no, not really. If you receive SSI, your payment comes on the 1st of the month or the last business day before the 1st. That's the rule for everyone. If you receive SSDI, retirement, or survivor benefits, your payment date is based on your birth date. That's not something you can change just because it would be more convenient for you. However, what you can do is work with your creditors and service providers to align your due dates with your payment schedule. Many companies will change your due date if you ask. If your rent is due on the 1st but your Social Security doesn't arrive until the 15th, ask your landlord if you can pay on the 20th instead. Many will accommodate you, especially if you're a reliable tenant who pays every month. Similarly, utility companies, phone companies, insurance companies, they often have flexibility on due dates. It never hurts to ask. The worst they can say is no, and you're no worse off than before. People also ask about what happens if there's a government shutdown. This has happened several times in recent years, and it causes tremendous anxiety among Social Security recipients. Here's what you need to know. Social Security payments are considered mandatory spending, not discretionary spending. They continue even during government shutdowns. Your payment will still arrive on schedule even if other government services are disrupted. That said, customer service may be limited during a shutdown. Wait times to speak with someone might be longer. Some offices might have reduced hours. But the payments themselves keep flowing. What about if there's a change in your circumstances? This is crucial. If anything changes in your life that could affect your benefits, you are required to report it to the Social Security Administration. This includes things like getting married, getting divorced, moving to a new address, changes in your income, changes in your living situation, starting to receive other benefits, or having someone else move into your household. Failing to report changes can result in overpayments, which you will have to pay back. The Social Security Administration takes this very seriously. They will recover overpayments by reducing your future benefits, sometimes by as much as 10% each month until the overpayment is recovered. It's much better to report changes proactively than to deal with an overpayment situation later. Let's also talk about Direct Express cards for a moment, because many Social Security recipients use these. The Direct Express card is a debit card program specifically for people who receive federal benefits. It's a good option if you don't have a bank account. Your payment is loaded onto the card automatically each month. If you use Direct Express, know your card number. Know your PIN. Keep the customer service number somewhere safe. If your card is lost or stolen, you can get a replacement, but it takes time. You can also get emergency cash access in some situations, but you have to call and request it. One important thing about Direct Express: there are fees for certain transactions. Cash withdrawals at non-network ATMs can cost money. Balance inquiries at certain ATMs can cost money. Read the fee schedule. Understand what costs money and what doesn't. Use network ATMs whenever possible to avoid unnecessary fees. Some people ask whether they should switch from Direct Express to a regular bank account. That's a personal decision that depends on your situation. Banks offer more services, potentially better fraud protection, and the ability to write checks. But they may also have monthly fees, minimum balance requirements, and other complications. Direct Express is simple and straightforward, which many people prefer. There's no right or wrong answer. Choose what works best for your needs. Let's address fraud and scams, because unfortunately, Social Security recipients are frequent targets for scammers. Here are the most important things to remember. The Social Security Administration will never call you and threaten to suspend your benefits unless you pay money immediately. That is always a scam. Always. If someone calls claiming to be from Social Security and demands immediate payment, hang up. Do not engage. Do not provide any information. The Social Security Administration will never ask you to pay them with gift cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or cash apps. If anyone asks you to pay the Social Security Administration through any of these methods, it is 100% a scam. The Social Security Administration will never ask you for your Social Security number over the phone if they initiated the call. They already have your number. If you call them, yes, they'll verify your identity by asking for it. But if they call you out of the blue and ask for your Social Security number, that's suspicious. If you're ever uncertain whether a communication is legitimate, hang up and call the official Social Security Administration number yourself. Look it up independently. Don't use a number the caller gives you. Call 1-800-772-1213 and ask whether there's actually an issue with your account. Protect your personal information fiercely. Your Social Security number is the key to your identity. Don't give it out unless absolutely necessary. Don't carry your Social Security card in your wallet. Keep it in a safe place at home. Be very cautious about who you share information with. Now, let's talk about planning for the future with Social Security. Many people wonder, will Social Security still be there for me in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? This is a legitimate concern, and it's something that gets discussed in the news frequently. Here's what we know. Social Security is funded through payroll taxes. As long as people are working and paying into the system, money is coming in. The concern is about the ratio of workers to beneficiaries. As the population ages, there are fewer workers supporting each beneficiary, which creates funding challenges. Current projections suggest that if nothing changes, the Social Security Trust Fund will be depleted sometime in the 2030s. But, and this is important, that doesn't mean benefits go to zero. Even if the trust fund is depleted, incoming payroll taxes would still cover approximately 70 to 80% of scheduled benefits. Congress will likely make changes before we get to that point. They could raise the payroll tax cap, increase the retirement age, adjust the benefit formula, or make other modifications. Social Security is politically popular, and politicians from both parties understand that cutting it dramatically would be electoral suicide. That doesn't mean you shouldn't plan prudently. If you're still working and able to save, do so. If you have other sources of retirement income, that's excellent. But the fear that Social Security will completely disappear is overblown. Changes are likely, but the program will almost certainly continue in some form. For those currently receiving benefits, your payments are secure in the short to medium term. The discussions about solvency primarily affect future beneficiaries and long-term planning, not people already in the system. Let me also address cost of living adjustments, known as COLAs. Each year, Social Security benefits are adjusted to account for inflation. This adjustment is based on the Consumer Price Index. Some years the increase is larger, some years it's smaller, and in rare cases during deflationary periods, there's no increase at all. The COLA for 2026 has already been announced and is included in the payments you're receiving now. If you're wondering about future COLAs, they're typically announced in October for the following year. Keep an eye out in October for news about the next year's adjustment. It's worth noting that COLAs don't always feel like they keep pace with your actual expenses. The formula is based on average inflation across all goods and services, but your personal experience may differ. If you spend a large percentage of your income on healthcare or housing, and those costs are rising faster than average inflation, the COLA may not feel adequate. This is a common frustration and it's a valid one. Finally, let me talk about the importance of keeping your information updated with the Social Security Administration. Make sure they have your current address. If you move, report it immediately. Make sure they have your current phone number. Make sure your direct deposit information is correct. You can manage much of this online through your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. If you haven't created an account yet, consider doing so. It allows you to view your payment history, check your benefit amount, get a replacement Social Security card, and manage other aspects of your benefits without having to call or visit an office. Creating an online account also helps protect you from fraud, because once you've created an account, scammers can't create one in your name and potentially steal your identity or redirect your benefits. In conclusion, understanding your Social Security payment schedule is about more than just knowing when money arrives. It's about taking control of your financial life. It's about reducing uncertainty and stress. It's about making informed decisions. It's about protecting yourself from scams and misinformation. The system has rules, and those rules exist for reasons. They're not always convenient. They don't always align perfectly with your personal situation. But they're predictable, and predictability is valuable. When you understand the rules, you can plan around them. You can work with them instead of being surprised by them. I hope this comprehensive explanation has given you the clarity you need. I hope you feel more confident about what to expect in January 2026 and beyond. I hope you feel empowered to plan effectively and make smart choices with your money. Remember, you're not alone in navigating this system. Millions of Americans are in the same boat. Resources are available. Information is available. Help is available if you need it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your finances. Stay informed. And remember that knowledge is your best tool for financial stability and peace of mind. Thank you for taking the time to understand this important information.